Okay, well let's get started. First, I would like to begin with acknowledgements. We acknowledge the responsibility to care for the lands in which we are situated, wherever we may be. Here we are in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, and the Stoney Nakoda Nation, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. So welcome to everyone who's able to join us today. I am Wendy Adamek, the Numata Chair in Buddhist Studies at the University of Calgary in the Department of Classics and Religion. It is my great honor to introduce our speaker today. His Eminence is recognized by His Holiness the Dalai Lama as the 9th reincarnated Tulku Neten Rinpoche, Lama-Abbott of the Jungpa Monastery in Lithang, Tibet. He received his Ph.D.degree, Geshe Lharampa, in Buddhist Sutras from SeraMey Monastic University in South India, and an advanced degree in Buddhist Tantra, sorry if I'm mispronouncing this, Ngagrampa from Gyumed Tantric Monastery. He is now a teacher at SeraMey Monastic University and the founder abbot of the Jamtse Choling Dharma Centers in Toronto and Calgary. His Eminence resides in Toronto but travels extensively across the globe, giving teachings to religious, educational, and social institutions. For more information, please visit the website that I have posted in the chat, the link, which seems to have oh no, there it is. Okay, let me post that. So please visit this website for events here in Calgary. So without further ado, I will turn this over to His Eminence Neten Rinpoche's translator and His Eminence. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello everyone, I'm very happy today to join your group to give a talk, and also I'm very happy to see you again because the last time I gave a talk at your group in Calgary, in the University of Calgary last time, and was very pleased, and now today I'm very happy to see you again, and thank you for joining us for the talk. So it would be nice if I can see you directly in person, like in Calgary, but now our situation is difficult and I cannot go to Calgary to see you. But with this media, it's helped us to see each other through the internet. So I'm very happy I can communicate with you and can share with you the talk today. Even I don't see you in the person, but I can see you through the screen.
Okay. So that I share and Toronto the subject organization and Kakola Tachik to the Yua Mongo, Chinkanya Mongo stem, cut the Negatoliatic, and the Kandasimo and the Stangoni, a summer Kandastango, other subject and he told she's too much on another Martian.
And as per your request, we talk about the uncertain time and a lot of problem and the trouble, and also a lot of suffering is going on lately. And on this talk, we would like to share, each other how we can apply the mind training to overcome on the adversity, on the difficult situation, to be able to, find a joy, and, we continue with good talk, good life in this pandemic time. So today we share about, the training.
오늘 다음에 당라도 니도 니도 지르와 니도 지레버레 니도 니 탐바데 당라도 로 강사로라 아니 다 간다지 내용이 깨져가 되네 아니 아니 망부지 쇼네 가도 대화지야데 성레 망고다 상도라도 간이 가고 싶은 점을 용도라 아니 찍찍도 말고 점을 상도로 간인데 중화지 오늘 다음에 말하고 다지 냠유도 마스네 니도
So today is, we are in the year of 2021, where we spent 1 year in 2020. We spent 1 year with a lot of suffering, a lot of trouble, a lot of difficulty. And also it's not just only for yourself or ourselves, but the whole, everyone around the world, faced with this painful experience. And now 1 year we went through, and then we have experienced how to cope, how to deal with the difficulty. And now with this, my training will help us to make more effort in this coming year. All the difficulty maybe is still there to wait for us, but we can still, with this experience, will help us a lot in this year.
아니 내주 상하지가 나라도 가르쳐나 다 나자 근데 거기 남는 게 아니 매 아니 다 고투니까 근데 집이 버려 나라도 내주 상고 로지 뜻지다 내주 상고 되지 좀 버려스.
And then with when we go through 1 year like that, now we can, hope to have the medication. Everything can help us to change back our life to normal like before. So we still have some hope there.
아니 다 지단계 말아도 한데서나 아니 자세 신부 쇼알라고 뒤지는 것도 통요버래 상아도 직선 동해 상상 지킨 동해 상상 지기도 도와면 삼로도 상대리나 동해 상상 상대리나 아마 비슷한 거 편도 매버레스 동해 지다 삼상의 삼사 뒤에 등에 뒤에 동해 상상 삼상 연행이 철에 춘에 살아마다 대버이나 알아도 비슷한게 신기해리.
So it's in the Buddhist teaching, there is one great master, his name is Santideva. He says that if there is a remedy when troubles strike, then what reason is there for frustration? But if there is no help for it, then what good is it to be unhappy? So we always have a way, to find a way to overcome of that, all the trouble that we are experiencing now. So we try to explain what that great master means about it.
그래서 자세히 보셔라고 송어를. 이게 주요는 들라니까 지시했어. 주요는 같이 땅놓고 주요 같이 치고 그랬어. 그래서 주스 매나니 말아 동해진이 팬포가 말아 동해되게 알아 동해되게 만도 벌써 팬도 때문에 동해진데 팬도 매고 근데 있은 거죠 그래서.
So any trouble is arise, any trouble that we are experiencing right now, if we have a way to find the way to heal it or a way to fix it, then it's no need to be frustrated or no need to be unhappy, because we have a way to do it. And if we don't have a way to do it, then even we get very sad or unhappy, it doesn't help. So anyway, it's just we need to understand it, to help ourselves to deal with the situation.
근데 나라도 생기 동네생이 고급 매버에서 동네 삼로 땅내가 매고 생기 동네 매버 그거한테 치기 동네 매버 소모도 생기 동네 매버 소리 나도래야 라몬다 마선 이어가래 소스레스.
So there are many suffering come from outside, but we need to eliminate the suffering from inside. That means our mind. Our mind, we have the freedom and we have a power to do that. Because with the outer sometimes we don't have a way to do, but our mind we can control.
Want to see what it is. Then to somebody understand. To any Nimangu Chiki Dichabatin, may so to do us. The joy of a tapsi and joagata, Juchadama from the maid Radwas under the desire of us. The Marathon letter to listen, Tapsitan, hope that was why you never so to us.
So you see that we have a remedy that means all the effort and the teamwork together to find the medicine, to find the vaccine to help us to overcome of this disease. So you can see that is there a hope there is a coming, and then is that why we don't need to be unhappy, because we need to have a hope that things can help us for the better in later.
This is and then how do Maranzo that oh, to which shows on a Tanga, to which shows that around and the Chilo to Argumento, Lega shows on Diana Penge or Kangatola Canyon Johnson, similar to which in Mades. Karsana Maranzo, Digiti Kangalo Kali, Kali Jibijab Chinche, Chin Chaturi, young Maranzo, Karin Kali Yami, Yapenjo in a Karin, Karsana, Mantulia, Yabuchi, you know, to washing with it, be with you know, with your was.
And then you understand that everything is impermanent, everything is changing. It cannot stay in that state for forever. So sometimes we feel very frustrated, we feel depressed because, oh, I have to stay at home long time, I cannot go to work, and I don't have anything to enjoy like before. And then you feel sad about that, you suffer about that. But we don't need to do that, because we have the way to get out. We have a hope that we will have a good medicine, and also we are able to change. We are able to do many things that is release our frustration or the suffering. And one thing is that we need to know that impermanent is very important, because things change all the time. We are not in that the bad state all the time. Things will be changed and change for for better. That is, we need to understand. And one thing is very important, that we need to recognize the value and the precious human body, human life that we have. For as a human being, we are able, have all the capacity to change things. So that we need to recognize that our human body that we possess right now is very precious and very meaningful, and help us to do so many things.
The key material that the kind company members come members. As a human body, the such Bushare, as a Talamudu Legamendo, Saya Lekalekabotu, someone can do some names of somebody, over what you did your teeth, should you never gave.
So sometimes the material or external things can help us, but maybe cannot help us. But with this human body that we have right now, and the capacity with our mind, intelligence to be able to do things, we don't need to sit there and say, oh, I cannot have I cannot enjoy to go outside. I'm not sure that I like that way I work. Or maybe my work is not like before. That a lot of things that we are not happy, and then we complain about situation. But we need to have a very many hours to think about that. What we have is the best is our body with intelligence that we have. instead of spending time and worry about the future or complaining about we lose on the joy that we had before. So by appreciating that we have this human body with intelligence and with pleasure and all the fortune that we can do, then we train our mind right now. We train whatever our body, our life we can do in the future. So now is the time for thinking, for training, because later on we will do a better job, we will do something more intelligent, and we can do something more interesting, because now we have a time to appreciate our life, our human body, and then our time to prepare for the good future.
그래서 나도 단대 누구디 나도 탕부용하다 누구들 숨접지하다 이 개심부시라래 그래서 나도 낮에 막고봐 낮에 또는 마용어야 탑시 다진 누구들 막고야 탑시 다 그래도 숨좀 컨디션에 담다 치도나 마음보다는 칼리네 그것도 그래 어다 미치네 한다 개심부도 와서.
So that why now it's very important, the most important that we protect ourselves, our body, not getting the disease. We protect our body, keep a good health, because we need to use it for the future. And the future will come soon for good if we prepare right now. So that's why the protecting our body, prevent our body to get the disease, that is very important now.
아니 long-term of happiness there to grace.
And then this will give a long time, happiness in the future.
예상 알아서 다 그 민도 I'm not in your marriage. 좀 민도 와. 나도리야 류데디 다 치셔도 와.
Sometimes we're so depressed and frustrated, and we think we don't have anything. I lose many things. But you forget that you have something is very valuable and precious, is your body. But your human body with possess of all the pleasure and all the capacity that you can do. So you didn't lose anything really, because the most precious thing is you have.
그래서나 나도 다 가봤어 티베틴 그런에서 야가를 인 답은 보면 인디아 네팔 레벨 근데 삼바 가게 요 말해서 only body 지고 요래서 아 칼리를 자갈래 아니 양 칼리 리파 땅 삼바타지 디우치니 다 마나스토리 강가 야포치니서 소바 미사토 푸슨 소바 몽고 야포서 토요 그래 다음에 막 캐나다 담보인도 삼바 대샤키야 진행에 저도 니즈도 그래 이 가르쳐 그래 나도 누구디 요인데 디톤에 삼바타니 야같이 아니 밀로 ramchu 망고 잡았던 지하도 왔어 누구디 요로 되게 정말로 망고 또 never 와 두서래.
So you see that we the Tibetan we lost the country and we went to India. And the beginning, everyone feel very sad about it because we lost the country and we have nothing, no money, nothing. Even we left the relatives there. But then slowly with the human body that we have, and then we build up a lot of things in India, and we built many monasteries there, and then we made a lot of good business there, and then we established very well in India. So I myself, I came from India and I come here as a monk. I don't have anything, really empty-handed. And then I appreciate that I have this good body and this mind that I can build up. And now I have two monasteries, and then I still be able to help a lot of Sangha among, to continue to study. So you can see that with this body and intelligence and all the capacity that one human body can have, we can build the bright future.
맞아요. 예상 말아도 류덴디 유자 만들어 믹스기 wisdom지 뭐요 그래. 제달 매버지기. 그러나 준비침부 그다도 생기로 수고도 또 침부시라요 때 니기는 시기 wisdom지에 두고 매면 믹스 wisdom지요. 똑스레.
And the most precious that as a human being that we are, is we have the wisdom. The wisdom is the animal they don't have. Many a very big animal, very strong animal is still scared the human being because they don't have a wisdom like we have. We are small body, but we have the wisdom. We have a power.
맞으세요. 다 인상 말아도 아니 컨디션 자판다 wisdom에 대해서 그 약속도 와. 다티 가들라 wisdom 메시지 그래. 다요 wisdom 세야 되기 미는 딱 소소를 때는 가려고 다 패밀리도 지고 삼모다야 딜러로 같이 해서 삼모다 딜리기 제 wisdom다 야 지금 미치고 삼모다 딜러 팬도 자서 근데 딱 말했어 이게 wisdom이 unlimited 망부지기 동해서야 그렇게 좋아 봐 홀스님 빙기대로 같이 하고 삼모요와 딜리기 미루데 때 믹스 wisdom 밀어만도 밀어봐 전도 말해.
So we have the wisdom, but if we say that it's a great wisdom, why is it great? If we have just only the wisdom, knowledge, and then we just do for our family, we do for ourselves, we do for the people we love only, then we have that wisdom, but we don't use, it's the most powerful that the wisdom can do, and we can call that great wisdom. That means that we use that knowledge, the wisdom, to help all the sentient beings, to help people, to help everyone. So this wisdom will be very precious, and I call that a great wisdom because we know how to use it in a meaningful way.
다 전도도 얘네야 그런 패밀리 성적 지하당 그런 그룹 성적 지하다 근데 내기 wisdom 진지들의 그들 요래 민을는 신기 때 상만으로 동해 삼다 소수의 동해 삼다는 시야나 동해 매가 삼다야 상만으로 동해 매가 삼다 근데 민을만도 믿어 봐 그래서 나도 미 리더리 얘네 남주 믹스이 요래서 wisdom 믹스이도 봐.
So you see the animal, they protect their family, and then also they protect their group, but just that they can do. But you as a human being, we also protect our family, our group, but we do more than them, more than the animal. That means our wisdom and our understanding alone can be extended to everyone, and we are able to do that. And then that's why it's become very precious whatever we have as a knowledge wisdom, because it's not the ordinary, it's the knowledge wisdom that we use to think. If we are able to extend our love and the wisdom to unlimited, that means for everyone, then you will see that it's how meaningful life that you live.
당나라도 근제스네. 당나도 삼도 땅고고 로종 계신 거 지라래. 그래서 삼당으로서는 당나도 파로파 자체스는 삼도 땅제. 동해의 근제스 이것도
So, and then that's why we need constantly train our mind, in the meaningful way. Always thinking everything it happen, happiness or suffering happen. We need to think about where it come from, what is the ghost that is they come from. And then if we always think that way, then we will find a way to deal with happiness and suffering.
그래서 동해에서 대화생이 주지요가 되는 거 뭐, 주매바시네 아마도 명에 알아서 대화 당도 주지요. 동해시네 이거로 와.
So everything has a ghost, happiness or the suffering have the ghost, where it come from, So that's why we need to all the time looking for the ghost to be able to find a way, to deal with happiness and suffering.
그래. 다 동해가 주지를 때다 주컨대지도 와서 섬다네. 당연히 망체의 치기 등에 내고네. 치 동해를 나도 강가 하고 그래. 세리부터 그 세시다고 신들이 다또 난게 동해에 시기가 그래서
So there is a lot of different kind of the suffering, it come from outside, but everything come from outside, already. I don't need to go deep in that today. I would like to share with you how we can deal with the suffering from within, that means from our mind, because the inner suffering is very important. Outer suffering come and go, but inner suffering we need to train to overcome it.
네 정도는 지금 다들 그래서 정부도서는 하나도 딱제시다. 다 다른 하나도 냠용 먹고 주거래. 그래서 상말로야 아니 네 나사 내염 게임이 동해지 다 토아 마오 충아 로아 상말로 집을내서 와 동해지 그 상말로는 많이 집을내요 와.
So there is a way of thinking, like we need to think about now. We know, everyone knows about this pandemic time that everyone suffer. It doesn't matter, you low or high or any position or any situation, everyone get this suffering. So that's why we need to think about it to be able to distinguish about that this kind of pandemic, kind of disease is doesn't matter, your situation, your position, doesn't matter what the situation you are, you risky to get the disease.
다 들리도 이거 내가 들려야 다 상황으로 여버려야 동의지 여버려야 동의지 치주 먹고신 가실을 동의 충중 가실을 생각 중에 친구 가실을 등 먹고지 민대와 먹고신 거 알아요. 이 가르치는 용도야. 양상도 다 지겨워요.
And then everyone have this kind of suffering. Some is the big suffering, some is small, some is medium, some, it still have that suffering. So we always have to think about, don't think the external factor, think about where it come from this suffering.
또 동의에 대한 치중 건드신 것으로서는 랑진지 가득이 침보, 랑따지고 가득 침보 채워 대적이 동의에 채워요. 어디지 중국도 봐.
So the disease is an external factor to cause the suffering, but our main suffering is our self-cherishment. Our self-cherishment, that means we love ourselves too much, so that why we made the external suffering become huge to us.
랑진지디 등이나 동의에 대해서 충만. 랑진지 친구에는 동의에 대해서 채워.
So all the suffering is come from the self-cherishment. So if we have a self-cherishment, it's low, that means we suffer less. If it's medium or big, the more we love ourselves, the more we cherish ourselves only, then the suffering becomes bigger.
다 다른 데 가서 염려만 거 싸버려. 그래서나 다 다른 거 내가 쇼스 접쇼스 다 다른 거 치료도 하면 또 그러면서 안에서 탕마가 먹부실 납사 아이 먹부실 나면서 막 나를 접인도 갈라 개미도 나를 이미도 나한테 같이 망가 숙체와 여와 전기 진짜 부수 도부 쌤 빼미스 그 타이트 차네 갈래 가고 지네 동의 차와 이것도 봐 생각해서도 봐.
So if every day we only thinking about I all the time, I cannot go to the party, I cannot go enjoy outside, I cannot do the work that I do like before, everything I cannot enjoy the thing like I had before, everything is I and I all the time. Our mind is so tight and it's so focused on that I, that's why our mind become create a lot of trouble and then we suffer more.
Then 다 강반나 대모도 그러시네. 왜 저도 가시지 강반나 대와 전화양 갈라고 탕하 마이티 보면 그 강반나를 제일 능실이 샷한번도 베스트랑 부수도 쉬우지. 마이티 타이트 좀 쉬우지 하그래. 이거는 싸움을 제버려만도 제가 개박해요 말했어.
And then it's it's a lot of time during the day that you can do many times, but like we spend a lot of time. If we spend a lot of time because that I is so strong, and then I stay all day in the house, it look like in jail, and then I don't feel happy to stay inside the house. And then you see that I, instead of doing a lot of things during the day, we stuck with the idea that is we are in the jail, and then we suffer because we tell ourselves that I'm not happy about that, instead of finding another way to do.
This not enough. This not enough. This not. I is so unbelievable. 상만 많이 온다. 얘 뭐지고 먹고 찬 거래.
So and then we start to say that this is not enough. That is too much. And then you all the time it comes from your mind. Because you made the things, sometimes the problem is like that, you make bigger, and then we suffer more.
많이 우도와 다들 좀 해봐 먹고 싶어요. 그래서 맨날 차샤나 말한다 이 그래서 단 내용이 상담 토마 내용이 뭐더라. 상만로기 당말로 사야고도 망망 빠진 무슨 상만로 정말 주제에 잘라 먹고 쉬우진 요 그랬다. 그래서 사야도 로직 당하는데 가실 때 내용이 정말에. 나한테 좋네. 당하나 고부동 하고 맞다 좀 쉬고 쉬어 되네. 다들 시야가 삼았던 게 요 말했어. 내가 된다 마음이 요에나 믿으라고 말해서 요 말. 하나 고부동 알로 있어요. 잘라 먹고 싶냐 가만 알아서 로직 당하고라 요에들이 좋아요 그래.
And also because that I is so big in our mind, and then it's like this is a self-cherishment. And then we say that one example during the pandemic time when we hear something is not busy going on, And then we start to worry too much. And then, of course, then you worry. But we went to the shop and we buy almost everything from the shop and come home to keep, we took about 1 month or 2 months or something like that. But we never have in our mind that, oh, maybe we can get the disease and we die one time. We don't think about that, the death can happen. And also we don't think about other people also suffering. And then we only think about food for me, everything is for me only, without thinking that maybe other people also need food. And also that can occur at any time to anyone. We don't think about that. We just think about, I need to eat, I need to eat a lot of things. Yeah. So even if reality is like that, but it's that we need to analyze our mind, how we think about it.
Yeah, beginning and COVID-19 beginning, everybody worry too much. I'm maybe big problem now. I'm not enough the food and buy. Some people rather buy almost 1 year, maybe no problem. The food they buy ready. Keep. Then I need. So they are not thinking the share. Other people not enough. Never thinking other people. Me only I. Saturation. After then food no finish. Then again suffering with one. Then insect coming, food is damaged, many things. Now cannot do much. They can't even do it. Any magic, some of the science, logic to buyong, can you yeah? Yan chela dumage mu put near tani buyong to some youngest and the dumage.
So when we have a lot of food, and then after that, we have another kind of suffering. That means we cannot finish all of the food that we bought at the beginning. And then the food become waste. Then either we throw them away, or a lot of insect is coming, and then we cannot do anything. We need to continue, we have to clean up. And then, so you can see that one suffering leads another suffering.
Yeah, is that suffering is due massive. 다 동해용서 또르버디 란첸진 링고르다 란첸진을 때는 나라 야부스고도 나라 감각고도 나라 해피니스고도 나라 고도 간단한수 란첸진기 나라 해피니스 약시도 스스로 보고 이거를 내 감각 들 때는 좀 어디서 됐어.
So sometimes we look for the happiness, but the way we do, we bring to ourselves the suffering really, because that the self-cherishment, everything is, I want it, I like it, I wish to have it, everything only for ourselves, for that why we cherish so much that we forgot about, any condition around us. So that's why sometimes everyone look for happiness, but the way we do, we go suffering.
다 인자 디데인자 반델로산 주제 가르친 거래 랑치에진 시부체나 두미용세 따와레스 랑이 지지 그거 군고 많은 지지인데 군기시 다 랑이 제브르진이 데 미스가 두미용세 따와다 보지 연도 순거 대난도 가디 넣을 냐고도 와스.
So that's why the great master said that one of the great master is said that all the suffering it comes from the cherishing ourselves.
다른 것도 삼라야고 당기이나 같이 아침에 전에 디생아도 돈이 인구도 봐. 나도 삼로 봤던 거래. 로종 승예비 때문에 삼로 당시에 또 삼로 당에 로디 돈이 내려서 보아지래. 근데라도 리졸 삼로 당에 언도 지고 와도 그랬어.
So that's why it's very important that we train our mind all the time to see that where come from this suffering, and also is a way to think about ourselves too much can create a suffering instead of cherish other people. So we can see that we need to look for the cause that cause our trouble, our frustration or suffering, to be able to find another way that is maybe that will bring the happiness by eliminate, by thinking less about self and cherish more to others.
맞으세요. 딱 말아도 그랬으나 신 다시버 쳐버린 신 진진시나 연대 연구를 했어요. 그 시절에 아마 기회신이 연구 좀 해버려. 신 진진 때 연대 연구였어. 연대 가르 연구를 신 진진 때는 랑도니 총화 연구를. 그래서나 소소리아 때나들이 공화제를 지니 잘라들이 뭔가 상가되고 있는 엑sem플 샤기 스케다 그 비기닝도 다른 나도 연구들 미션다 상가지 소소 말아봐 얘네양 셈발을 시기요. 그래서나 다 다른 하나 말하네. 개발되는 미션단 소리 잘라도 라서 이 되기도 왔어. 소설 말하는 셈 중요한 거 봐. 다만 진짜 싶으잖아. 다 다른 나라 라마 다 다른 앞에 쌌어. 다 나도 정말 생각하니 그 셈 중요한 거 봐. 다 진짜 요거에나 다 컨트롤 이 릭스 너도 심부터 봐. 그래서 동의 시중 누가 삼았다는데도.
So if we cherish others, and you will find that we will obtain the good quality, and then also is a good mind, because we think about others. For example, at the beginning of the pandemic, like everyone is rush to go to the shop to buy everything. But then if we don't find the thing, like not enough the food there for us, then normally if we cherish ourselves, that we feel very frustrated, suffering, and sometimes we feel, how come I don't have that? Everyone bought that, I don't have it. But if you think that, if I don't have it, it's fine, I can find another time. But now other people need it, so people bought it, so it's good for them. I don't have it, but it's good for them because they have. So if you think that way, then you don't go home with the frustration. And then you feel that, there is something enough for other people, then you can find a way to find anything for you next time. So if we think that way, that means we cherish others. We wish for them, the happiness that they can have. This is very important. This is build up a good quality in our mind.
Then this time social mind come down. 누구의 양 relax요. 네가 도왔어.
So if we think that way, then is our mind calm down, and then we rejoice, with the happiness of others. And then when the mind calm down, the body also relax, more relaxed, and it's go less the problem, for the sickness. So you can see that being just thinking about the good thing for others, then you can see that the benefit you get right away, and you are a kind person because your mind become more kind.
Then body language in yang nice yours. Speak in a nice yours. And mind can go peace for lying the summer yours.
And you see the mind is very important because the state of mind determine the physical and verbal action. When you have a good mind, a calm mind, your action, whatever you do with your action, the body, or whatever you say, your speech is more smooth, more soft, and more kind. So you see that this mind is very important because that is create our behavior. Good or bad behavior depend on our mind.
근데 도와다. 드디어 삼바 happiness이 도와다. 이 마이 그래서 아주 당고 대화 통화 도와. 나서 용어도 다 돌리 배받는다. 때는 작게 세죠. 이게 디코인. 아니 쌤 시디 밑에 삼바 칸에 찍두야 용. 아니 라과자. 한 동행이 모두 와.
So you can see that maybe some of you have an experience when the beginning of the pandemic, you went to the shop, and somebody is really sometimes have a very harsh speech, and the action is very strong because they could not find the toilet paper, and then they so frustrated, all the napkin and everything is gone, and they cannot get it. So you can see right away the frustration is for nothing. But it come up with the harsh speech, it's not very nice speech, and also the body reaction is not very kind. So you see, it's just something is very small, but it affect our mind, then consequently affect our physical and verbal action.
야, 그러니까 갈로서 브랜드 싱글이었어. 다행이다. 말아도 시행진진 글로디. 여기 얘나 얘는 쌤 상보. 내가 아주 가르쳐나 담블리 나라 등상하고 간이 가르쳐나 가르고 그래. 참바 인지 쌤 상보 보고도 세야티 가르쳐나 시행진진 글로디라 쓰기요 그래. 참바 인지 찬주고 쌤. 다 찬주 쌤랑 참바의 인지도 야치 가서 땅토나 아니 소소리야 시행진진 글로 추천 보여요. 이내나 소소 기본 미신 기본 강력 기본 이거 두스레스.
So in this difficult time, it's really sometimes it helps us to cultivate good qualities like the loving kindness, the compassion. You see a lot of people suffer everywhere, is suffering. So it's no need for us to react the way that we just mentioned, but instead this is the opportunity for us to discover ourselves as we have a good mind, a kind mind or not, we are a compassionate person or not. we need to think about others, and together have to deal with this problem. So you see that in this difficult time, you can still cultivate the good quality.
아니 쌤 상고 참바다 인지 이제 야고 여베나 때마도 많이 감당한 차그래. 아니 레소소로 스타트리어데. 가족을 알람산 땡기면 소소로 운에 당내 편도 이거 두스래.
So if we think that way and we have that kind of good qualities, so you live your life in the good way because your mind is more calm, more understanding about other people suffering and need, and then we suffer less. And you can see that everything will be changed, but we still keep everything is changing externally. But if we keep a good and kind mind and a good mind, then we are more stable and we have a less suffering.
그래서 다 가르스나 만남 진지 연대 군기 시 무슨 요라 마 진지 좀 연대 탐지 시리즈 연대 강가 들리는 이거를 참바 민지 자주선자 진짜 탐전의 셈상고 민지를 기르이나 안 들었던 연대 야고 이거를 quality inner quality 야고 이거를 무슨 요래.
So what we're looking for is to have a good personality, good quality for our life, for ourselves. So by expressing or by reacting to the situation in keeping a kind-hearted mind, compassionate mind, and then is a kind person, you deal with people with all the time with the softness and the kindness, then you can see that is now in this difficult time, I have that quality. We discover ourselves, who we are with that quality that we have.
와도 생각해. 아니 소소이 줄이야 뭐야고 잠반인지 디요베나 잠반인지 세아데 소소이 빈자다 파만지 볼스 좀 해버려. 상망으로 기도가 근데 지요베나 아무튼 이제 컨디지를 까니에다 나다 두상 말아도 다 나다디 까니에 있어서 뭐 무엇을 말아도 내 하버요 삼바. 근데 지 까니에 태버이네 로바치 치고 좋는 양 내가 마시 주시도 그래. 가시 또 생각나. 내가 오늘 전에 지긴다서 까니에 매봤습니다. 근데 나가도 지도하신 거를 유송을 그래. 소소로 장소는 내 중앙에 그래.
And when we talk about that quality, like the kindness and compassion, you are a kind person, but it doesn't mean that you only kind to your family or the loved one. But this kindness, that quality needs to be addressed to everyone in this situation. If we understand, the difficulty that everyone are facing, and then we need to help as much as you can. You can physically go somewhere to help, or you can, mentally thinking good about others, and then you can do different kind of help that we can do to share with the suffering with everyone. So the kind mind is expressed to everyone, not only for the loved one.
아니 소소래 되게 자반인지 야고 여베나 밀 로바체베나 소소를 쓰면 까니에 인구 매버래. 당가 진이 돌아마로 근데 인구 매버래. 가비고는 인구 여베나 자반인지 여베나.
So you can see that is when we spend time to help others and to understand others or to listen or physically help others, you never think that is the waste of time. You will experience a kind of happiness that you may also release the suffering. You will see that this happiness will come when you do something good to others.
내는 쌤 상부터는 되시면 자반인지 야고 춘춘부 여베나 아니 쌤라야 가르고 그랬다. 근데 지하래야 까니 주는 매봐. Happy to help 자지 이거 제 말에 리쳐 용거래. 이 인구 여바 가르송어서나 이실랑으로 다바 송도 와서 사면서나 아니 랑신 인베스잖아 비디오 가버는 동세 이제때 같이 이해받게 진진쇼 리스템을 인구 여바랬어.
So when you are ready to help others, don't think about that it's a waste of time, or you don't have anything the benefit get from that. So if we think that way, we always looking for the way of the thing can be everyone can pay back to us, then we are unhappy. But if we unconditionally help others to release their suffering and help others, even if like you spend time, but you will see that you will find a really great happiness. You will experience that if you do that. and you feel that your time is very precious, and people, other will appreciate what we do. It's like the one of the verses in the mind training. It say that may I cherish beings of ill nature and those overwhelmed by wrongdoings and the suffering, and as if I had found a precious treasure that is very difficult to have.
나라도 로종세도 뭐 정나데 레슨부를 로종세도 계신고 양아도 동행지 정화에는 양 소소그 다치 갈로래 어디서 내리냐를 지카샤 당나라도 셈 상부들 때문에 남배추 켄인지메나 산지고 보바 토발라 네바도 참바다 닌지 셈 상부도 보고를 띠면나 산지 보바승에 토고 말을 송어래 더 신진진디기 산지 보바 토비야 유양 신진진스네로 생나고 다 남배추 켄이나 도스를 되고래.
So that's why we need to recognize that we have our mind, but the mind need to be trained, And then if we have that kind of good thinking, that means you train your mind. You train your mind all the time. In the Buddhism, like on the practitioner, like when we practice the Buddhism, we all the time focus on our mind and train our mind all the time to be able to deal with all kind of problems that happen in our life. And then as a Buddhist practitioner, we always wish to have enlightenment, and whatever from the path to lead to the enlightenment, we do the way that to benefit others. Whatever we do, we need to transform that way to become beneficial. And then is one day, then we can achieve the enlightenment for benefit of sentient being. So this is for our practitioner. We always focus on the mind, and whatever we do is meaningful and beneficial.
So you become enlightenment. You need the loving kindness, compassion, everything practice. No practice, you cannot become Buddha. That's what Buddhism said. 어디서 여봐래. 다들 인수 삼바 먹고 삼바도 봐. 하야 나라서 다 동행지 총수 삼야데 로종은 냠nen지나 동행 총수 삼삼바도 마대 봐지. 동행 총화 대기 팬도 영향을 줘야 봐. 동행들이 외대 먹고 다른 나라들은 냠뉴 먹고 여버래 동행 총화라 왔다 말로. 나도 강가로 동행 총화래. 그래서 동행들 연대지라 하시 버렸어.
So if you are not a practitioner, the Buddhist practitioner, and then if you don't spend a lot of time focus on, training your mind, then you can think about, I have a lot of suffering, and, why happened to me? And, we all the time not very happy about what happened in our life, but our life, is very precious, but we all the time not very happy about that. But then we forget one thing, that is with the suffering, it can arise a good quality. The suffering, it doesn't bring the suffering like the way we think, but the suffering can bring also good quality.
This is. 가르요서는 다른 것도 분명히 중앙에서 그중에도 속세풀 지내 대비해서 막 만들려야 셈다. 가르요 그랬으나 말제 용식을 안 했는데 다른 맛이 왜 말에 시작하면 삼바고 다 동해 중도 삼바는데 말제 중으로 좋아요. 말제 중으로 저는 퀄리티 약고 인거래. 빌려야 참바용가 인지용가 그래서 야가 거래. 말제 중은 참바인지 용도로 말 어디서 다.
So you see that if we are successful all the time, our life is all the time. Whatever we want, we get it. So be careful. We have a kind of pride and arrogant mind. When the pride and arrogance is not a good quality, because if you if you live with your ego and pride and arrogance, you don't have a kindness and a compassion. You always compete with others and try to defeat others because that kind of arrogance, because you're successful all the time.
That suffering, 다 arrogance인데 맞춤으로 그랬어, 맞죠? 맞지 추로 단 그랬어. 누구서랬어? quality 인구도 왔어. suffering 때문에 맞지 추로. 다 가지고 오네. 전에 갈 딱바르시 그것도 봐도 동의 무슨 셈데 맞대서 맞지 그랬어.
And then it's some suffering happen, or maybe something, some difficulty happen, and then we are not successful like the way we wish. We don't get the way that the thing that we had before. So you can see that now we recognize that sometimes it change, and then arrogance, the pride and arrogance will go down, and then we recognize that if we live our life in the humble way, maybe, you know, it will bring more happiness than live with that arrogant mind. So you see that sometimes the difficulty, the suffering help us to eliminate that kind of arrogant of pride.
그래서 다 다른 가라서 가라서나 동해 아니 가라 내가 사주고 야 COVID-19 제발 때네 다 정말로 다 COVID-19 야고치민도 삼네 미션다 COVID-19 영어서네 소소리 셴나도 유도 삼바 셴다 지용네 가서 하도 동해질에 다로 지나 삼바 닌지지기야제 이부도 봐 그가서나 아주 나게데 마차 셴라 때네야 닌지기야제 이부도 쓰래 이 동해들 때네 닌지기야제 뭐라 동해면은 닌지기 두고 말아왔어.
So, and you see that is normally when we are all the time successful and, you know, have a good leader in a good condition, sometimes we don't think about others, and we also very proud of ourselves, and then we always want to defeat others to be successful. But now with the COVID-19 situation, then we see a lot of suffering around. And then we cannot be ego or, you know, with arrogant like before, because all the people were sick. And then it's whatever we feel that we can do something for them to release that suffering, instead of, you know, worry about they can, you know, we can get the disease, and then we don't care about other people. So if we think that way and we care for others, so you can see that it's even the COVID-19 disease will help us to discover the quality that we have, the love and compassion.
Then love and compassion increase up.
And then it's increase more and more.
이건 또 딴 거래요. 세상 만들어 나도 들을 때는 만들 줄이야. 정말로 love and compassion increase 두주더라서 와. 이거 알아서 유연해져라.
So you can see that is if we know about ourselves, we discover now the kindness and the compassion start to build up and increase in our mind, in our personality, and our way of living with this disease, because we see everyone is suffer the same way. Then you can see that is now you have a good quality.
Yeah, Chris, which word? I am the me in the Sambangara Sambatan, the JD, the tiny. To me, someone telling not to do tiny, love the compassion, the tiny young, making a jiggy and chicken close, mind close, and so.
So before maybe we ignore people, we only think about ourselves, but now with this situation and with the quality that increase in our mind, in our personality, then we feel close to others. Even we are not close physically, we still, our mind, the feeling is close to each other. So you can see that it will bring a lot of goodness to us.
All this I'm about to want to say. Touching this, and have done to Tang around to any chick. Mangbuchi, that busy Mangbuchi. So step cherishing it in way over it. Say, Ramanda Sama, some of the Mangu say, there are no need to something of the too much. Oh, now this too money serve me another there, said Ramanda said, then she wanted to stick over it. The name into summer. To ranches in the Nasa Damara Yudwa. Now the younger cigar ranches and ranches in the color come under the Sabbath and Yudwa. Had the day into summer Tarang around to Delia Summer Tanche. On that, Dipa and Damanda chicken better as Casora, Bibele, Church killing is enough. And so they are about Bibele to Zingi over it, the nickname is.
So normally when we, you know, before we had this pandemic, time, then we all the time enjoy, you know, eating all kind of food, and we very difficult for, you know, choosing the food. But now with this one also can help us by, you know, feeling enough, and then whatever we have, then we can eat. You know, we don't need to really desire too much for different kind of food, because it now is a kind of dangerous to get the disease if we go that way. And then it's at the same time, we eat as a Buddhist practitioner, like we think that when we feel like enough and we eat whatever we have, we don't increase the negative action by, with killing so many animals, or we don't have create any bad thinking that creates a bad karma, desire, attachment, and try to do many negative things, is create a bad karma. So for us, we avoid to create a bad karma because we understand the consequence of what action we do. We will have a consequence of that. So this also helps to avoid, committing the bad karma, that means the bad action.
아니 동해 여바인다 딱 아니 지 개와사고 남배 최신 개와사서 개와사나 해비 거요. 아니 제달 팬토알서 내가 야가양 마하용야. 근데 거요 그래서 개와.
And then it's like for a practitioner, like in this difficult time, then we create more virtue, we create more good talk, and then we do many good action. Then this will bring the happiness as a consequence.
그래서 자세히 뭐 시와라고 승도와 아니 가르스나 동해기 제빠서 그렇지. 코에 진전 민지기 그렇지. 딕라 제시 딕과 빵그레스.
So it's the same. The Great Master Santideva, he said that is this is before he talk about eliminating the pride and arrogance during this suffering, and also he advised that is with the suffering is increase the quality like loving kindness and compassion, and he advised that we need to avoid on the doing on the misdeed. Through that is through our body, speech, and mind, because this create a negative consequence. And then also he advised that we need to do the virtuous action through our body, speech, and mind, and then again the consequence that we will receive the happiness of the good result.
어디에서 아니 가서 로종 코스기 요바래 나 추에게 내니 집에나 망고다 간다래 집에 кел인 집에나 망고는 삼았다 요바래 아니 페나 다리페 등에 가서 페나 소소로다 다리 코비 나자로 소바 합시 가야 매버 나자는데 나바다 등에 가르쳐 봐야네 양 삼모땅이 소시스템 디피스다요 그래서나 다 페나 껴와 소소 레주데 кел인이나 다른 게 등에 좀 컨디션과 뭔가 껴와가는 게 제부이 당연히 대부 분은 맞는 때 사바인 있었는데 그래서 나와 실직이 요바래 양아들이 나서 얘기 심지어 탐지기 나서기 그 쳐봐쇼 그 삼아다네 된 되게 요바래 어디 됐어 요바래 안에서 저기 말하면서 군조인의 라마타이게 얘기 내 나서서 받기 니 경험하면 미케벨에 타버 진럽 치러지 그래서 치러지 근데 진짜 삼아다나 무슨 심이야 그냥 보여라 근데 요바래
So in the mind training method that as a practitioner that we use to apply, we use to use it. This method that means, we have a different kind of thinking. Like one thing is that we think that is all the suffering we have right now, all the difficulty that we have right now, it is the result of all the bad, negative VT that we have created in the past. So now this suffering is made us, exhaust on my negative karma. So we accept that, look like we paid our debt. So we accept that, and like that we maybe created so many negativity in the past. So now it's like I pay on my debt about that. So that is one way. Then you calm down and you accept the situation. Another talk is that please bless me on the God or Buddha or Trishon, that the way that we do in the Buddhist practice. Like bless me to overcome this suffering of the sickness or difficulty right now, and then I can have that. So whatever I suffer right now is like help others to release the suffering. That means you accept that, and then you wish others to be happy. So if you do that way, then you feel very good about yourself, that even with the suffering, you have a way of thinking to release that suffering by doing, good deed. To keep your goodness all the time, keep for yourself the goodness, no change, doesn't matter. So what happened?
See, physical suffering cannot destroy. In a young mind suffering of the destroy.
So the physical suffering, sometimes we out of control, sometimes it just happens. But the suffering of the mind is in our hand. We can train it and we can change it.
맞으세요, 말해. 그래서 아니 벤제노 산슈의 송도와 아니 니주 디베트비 용강데 너도 동네 차다를 보여주자. 랭에 데부스도 좀 킹에 남도롱아 징길로 와도 숨겨 말해.
So that's why in one of the my training work is that we study a lot to help our mind. Is say that please bless me to take the miserable condition as a part by seeing them as opposed to exhaust on my negative karma and seeing the world that is being full of the fruit of evil. So, and anguish for the suffering is poured out like the rain. So we understand that, you know, a lot of evil things can negativity happen in our life, but like we can use that if it's happened to us, it's exhaust on the wrongdoing that we have in the past to release on that consequence so we can have the happiness later.
맞으세요. 당연하죠. 서플린트도 몇시에 딱 말하시 릴름시를 추죽주름시 용기 두기 치니 근데 자도 벌벌 붙이래. 당연하죠. 마인드 아웃사이드 서플린트 가지고 있는데 연구를 했어. 당연하죠. 마인드 가리는 스텝업 속으로 근데 그래서나 잠바다 인지 셈사별랑 신도 주거지는 딱딱 그런 데도나 치료기 벌벌 가지고 있는 양 나무도 두고 말해. 이렇게 계시버려.
You see, in our life, everything comes from outside. You can see that it's come from outside. Things change all the time. It looks like the wave. It's up and down, something, you know, it's a lot of trouble, a lot of good condition. Everything is changed all the time. But it no matter what happened, because we cannot make everything the way that we want. But our mind, we can do it. If we keep our mind with good quality all the time, very stable. We keep the goodness, we keep the loving kindness, the compassion on the way, the positive talk, everything that is controlled all the time. So it doesn't matter what is changing our side, it still cannot affect us because we have the armor of the goodness to protect us. So you can see that our life, you cannot expect everything is steady like that. All the time, up and down like the wave. But our mind, if we control and make us stable and keep the goodness, we can deal with everything.
In the water, moon shaking all the time. The moon is near. Ne moon around the shake go mara. Then we shall send the cabin day this. Ne Titan you go, cabin Yabata to the cabin for Jude, the mother, and day to come. Impermanent death was.
So you can see that our life is impermanent. Everything is changed. It looks like in the ocean when a lot of waves up and down, and the reflection of the moon on the water. You can see the moon also moving, but the moon itself, it doesn't move. The moon itself very stable, very kind, and very shining in the sky. But if you see the moon on the water, then the moon moves with the wave, with the water. So you see that everything is moving all the time. But if you stable, everything you are not affected, even you are in that situation.
맞으세요. 다인장 하나도 그 뒤에는 양 누대 상공에 단지 당보 누대 상고지 와서 그 야고디 meaningful life 사디 그 신진진 law 참바다 인지 그 뒤에는 양 미용을 바kan데 너도 못다제 제도나 아니 팬도 야고 인고래 social situation 가리네면에 social happiness numerous 어디 무슨 샤워레스.
So in brief, I just remind you again that is you know, the main focus for the talk today is just to help you to recognize the human body that made your life is very precious, more precious than anything else, that we are able to do so many things. And then addition to that, if we have a good mind, we keep the goodness with love and compassion to deal with any situation, you know, mostly, especially in this difficult time with a lot of suffering, then this is really the best because it's very important. Everything is changing. everything is changing, but your goodness stays. And then because we recognize the precious human being that we have, then we live our life in a meaningful way. If we keep that way, any changing, any trouble outside cannot affect you. You live happily.
Yeah, 그래서 잠바도 민지도나, then 지도나 미니라이즈, manipulate, manipulate.
And then if we cherish other, we treat people with love, kindness, and the compassion, then that means your mind is meaningful. Your life is meaningful.
그렇다. 다 들으듯이 자기 저한테 question 지로시스.
Yeah. So I just stop right now to give you time for the question.
Share.
Yeah, we can share.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Your Eminence. And what I would like to suggest is that since we have a large number of participants, let's try using the raise hand function under reactions, and then there will be a sort of cue, and I will call on people, and then unmute yourself. So you should have the capacity to unmute yourself. You could also type things in chat, and I can try to monitor, who's next. I'll do my best. So please go ahead. Raise hand. So Noah Latham, please unmute yourself.
Well, thanks very much for the talk. I appreciated just about everything that you said. And there was one thing that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. And it was when you talked about suffering as paying debts. And I can appreciate the idea of suffering being caused by having an unfortunate attitude and by perhaps having not practiced very much meditation, so that negative thoughts come into your head all the time. And but I didn't really understand how there could also be suffering coming from debts that are unpaid. And I think it might be a comforting thought if one's suffering to think, oh, well, this is good because I'm paying off my debts. I like to pay off debts. But I can't really believe that. I can't really believe that suffering comes from not having paid debts.
You are muted.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You're still muted.
No, I unmute. You hear?
Okay, good. Yeah, now you're good. Yeah.
So I know that you are right. Sometimes we worry too much because we have a big debt or we have a so difficulty to do any work. And then, but if we know that it's always have a way to help us out of that situation, but it's important on the action or on the help that we get from outside or whatever we can do to release that kind of worry. But still, your mind is still the mind. We need to keep that goodness. We keep to have that positive talk, because if our mind becomes negative, it still doesn't help a lot about that. So on the action, we can get help from that. We can get a lot of aid from past, or we can fly away in the future, we can do something. So action we can plan, but it doesn't mean that you lose your good mind. Keep a good mind, it's a kind and it's a happy mind in dealing with the situation. Don't let the situation destroy your mind. So here we talk about the mind training, that keep your mind, in the good condition, even that the worry is there.
This time I get no choice. Then next time everything have something successful, then I can. Some of them yapo stang kore. Then tata kora kai choice mene. Tanga te to masu tanga tungi shibu chini pento ke tu ayo mare. Ani yapo chi chunga nyama ni ba chigi ni sama. Tajinge chandi dewa thambo lab tuwa. Eti chosu yunani ko thapi da chare. Chosu mena tungi chini mate. Na jisung tajin chandi dewa thambo di sama yapo da.
So you keep in mind that now I don't have any capacity to do, but still have some help out there. And then in the future, you have to keep all the time the good motivation that I will do it. In the future, I will do that. I find a way to do. So if you keep your mind calm and clear and find a way to resolve the problem, then it's with the calm mind, then you will find a lot of good help out there. So it's like I talked at the beginning, like the Master Center Deva say that if there is a remedy when the trouble strikes, then what reason is there for frustration? So it's always have a way to help instead of staying and frustrated. You feel frustrated, you feel look like angry about that, or worry too much. Keep your goodness, keep a kind mind, and you find a way for the remedy of your problem.
Then an example level enough. Where somebody maybe that cannot pay, look like, but very maybe when I connection with saying question to when very good to go marwa. Month of a question now, Pulunalia, and big rejection, the Tamaton, Yawashima taking infinitely, Teto in a similar to me, Major says, oh, Tangate Thomas, Namba to Master, Tamaton Kawachimanga, attention, Sabini, they must say, and Sinja Tangel, the Ninji send some which means Hongwing, some somebody of time one and Chirena. But Chidam is the little to a Mother Kawachima, the Samasan of Pingiores.
So sometimes we have a positive talk, thinking that, in the way that we practice my training, we say that, oh, if I really have a debt, or I have something that I have to pay to somebody, that is maybe in the past, I have something that I didn't do right. That means I have that kind of debt to other person. So now I have to do that. So if you think that way, you see that in the circle of our lifetime, sometimes if the consequence of whatever we do, maybe we content with the way that is happened to us, and we think in the positive way, and then, oh, I will be happy to pay all of that because that is the part of life. Everyone has the same situation. So it's a part of life. It's not something is terrible because only happened to you and you're not supposed to have that. That is a part of life. Then if you take that, you think that way, then you feel that is very calm. So more calm and less worry, and then you have a strong mind to find a way to help you to get out of that situation instead of staying and feel frustrated about it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Our next question is from Kathleen McKenzie.
Thank you for the talk. I think my brain is too full, and it'll take me a while to work through it all. But one of the things you said was that everything is impermanent and everything is always changing. So can you tell me a little bit more about how you train your mind and calm your mind so that as an individual you can understand all this impermanence and ever-changing stuff all around you without getting sucked back into it?
다 치기대 가라도 그 내가 젠지 시도야 돼. 가라가고 그 다바고 랑킹코랑 법치는 누구요 그래? 야, 그 젠지는 누구요 그래? 치료돼. 아무데. 이내 셈스 아디 소소리야 컨트롤 해야지 뒤지 그래. 셈디 가디 이내 양 치료비 젠지 시 치료로 서프링 등 하나도 서프링 차가. 치료로 해변의 책에서 시비 해변의 차가. 근데 맞지 셈디 마인드 가디 이내 서프링 전에야 마인드 감당 오지야. Happiness should be shown here, she will happiness much mind neutral shadi, application more. That the Indian summer Kadu in the same Chamba, the Niji Ranshindi, Chilo Hachone, Yagachune, Ugachone, Katone, same Ranshindi, Chamba Niji Ranshinda, same Ranshindi, come down to the Shadi, Kachimores. There's happiness, she will happiness, your mother. Then, she will happiness, Jama Sabrin to Saba, Yante to me, she will show some better than Namdashim.
So when we talk about impermanent, you can see that in our life, the thing changing all the time. Sometimes up, sometimes down. Sometimes we have a difficulty, suffering. Sometimes we have a happiness and success. All kind of things happen of course our life. So, but it's very important what we call the mind training. We train our mind the way that we keep that stable. For example, if you know that things change. So if the suffering happened to you, it happened to you that you face with the suffering. So don't feel very desperate or feel frustrated because you know that is the suffering one day will change for better. You know that it change. You cannot suffer for the whole life. Something will be changed, so you have some hope. So with that kind of mind, then it helps you, it encourage you to keep going, to continue to find a way to overcome that suffering, and then you will see that it changes. So when it's happiness or success or whatever please you a lot, it happened to you, don't be so excited about that, because you know that the suffering will come, something will happen. So you cannot be successful and happy the whole life. Something will happen. So we just keep like that. We recognize that now I'm happy, now I'm successful, and keep, have that kind of level of satisfaction, and then keep continue doing the goodness. Everything you need to keep doing with the goodness, whatever you do in your life, love, compassion, patience, kindness, all kind of things. So you will see that if the suffering one day, the success is there, but so one day it just change and you suffer, but you're ready already. You know that it will change. So you don't completely destroy yourself by, losing everything, and then you cannot deal with that because you're ready already. You have that mind stable already.
My all in the middle, no go up, no go down. Look like that's very. Nita was at the Karsana, Mandu change in the Kadin, Diki Maris, Karsana, Karisu singing Purpana example, Karin Moto Chinovina. Moto the years have a second change in good was. Then Motor Balu the Machum Churu do was changing into two days.
So when I talk about impermanence, I can give you that mean the changing all the time. So, and then one example, when you buy the car it looks new to you. You buy the car. The moment you get the car belongs to you and you start to use it. That means the car is already lose the newness. That means you know that the car is getting old, and then trouble will come. Then you have to fix a lot of things with the car, and it's not fresh new like the way you saw before you buy it. So you can see that the moment you get the happiness, you're so happy, excited about the new car, but the suffering is there already because the car will change to give you the trouble. And then you are not happy the way that the time that you get the car. So that's why it's called the impermanent, it's changing.
Yeah, new car buy. Maybe one day car value is go down. Then car is cheaper. Then after no much value 1,000, 2,000. Then after it's a little garbage. Look like this is impermanent. We born young chen, small baby, right away changing. One second changing. Now we ready 50 years, 60 years ready. That's come from look like In one second changing come from look like this. This impermanent. That's never static. Look at 1 moment we changing, now go look like 50, 60 years already. 1 moment not changing, cannot 60, 50 years cannot go. That's why just cannot static, 1 second not static. We see the look like this is same thing, no same. Today we see that these people, when a young child, tomorrow he changed already. We don't know. This is so
so subtle way that we don't recognize the change.
So subtle, this way no recognize. Then it's changing there already. Changing, then order slowly. That's where this is impermanent. Permanent is never changing. They are static. Never. Look at this. My English is okay.
Yes, it's very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Yeah, people understand about cars for sure. Our next question is from Katiuska Mara Ferrer.
Yeah, sorry,
I hope
I put the longest variety. Sorry about that.
Sorry if I mispronounced, but yeah.
No, it's fine. Thanks. So thank you very much for your talk. It was very useful for me because this morning a friend of mine died of COVID. So thanks to this talk, I'm wondering, instead of focusing in my pain, I would like to do something mentally and physically to help not only this person who died this morning. I don't know if there is a way of doing it, of helping or of practicing to help this person who died this morning and all the people who are dying at the moment because of this.
So it's good that to hear that you think about others. This is very important because the good mind is very important. You think about others and try to find a way to help the person, even is already passed away. But in the Buddhist practitioner, as a practitioner, we believe in the next life, so that's why we always pray, with the Buddha or Trijung, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, or with the on the prayer that is with, we dedicate our marriage and we pray for that person to have a good rebirth, and to release all that suffering. But if we are not Buddhist, we also the goodness. A good mind is already the most important. If we are not Buddhist, we believe in God, so we can pray God, bless the person, help the person to have to release the suffering of that person, and then to help the person in any form that is in the future. It's better for the person. The prayer and the good wish is very important, but don't underestimate the good mind. The good mind is powerful. The good mind, the way that we deeply concerned about others and try to find the best way to help others, very powerful and very beneficial. So that is the way we can do for the passed away person, and then we can physically or verbally help, the family or help the person. So that is we can do.
Then also something recite mantra, everything.
Mm-hmm.
We need a good mind. Very good motivation and good mind, good motivation
You pray.
really xem nào xong nó tăng anh mà làm việc nó bị sao mà đại chân anh đi thành cái rồi tu sĩ rồi.
So it's the way we do it, we recite the mantra, that is the Buddhist way, but otherwise it's like you can pray. But before any action, it's very important, the motivation. A good motivation is very important because with that good motivation, the wishing for the goodness to others. And then with that good motivation, your prayer become, effective and it's more beneficial.
But if I do the Tonglen, if I want to apply Tonglen, how can I do it in this case?
Tonglen siya di jidangge Tonglen chebaliang sem sangbo kulung sangbo jimena yungo mare tang ando Tonglen sa to ta chanju sem lo soba nang ba chena ta chanju sem lo soba de libya ko sem simba da dimena ya sem sangbo kulung sangbo jigi ta siana pembe chaba ninji de de sambo tang go yo res ninji ni bo tigi ibe ngana ani chengi dunge su leya chengi dunge su lendu samba ani ya ji当然罗中国那里呢，有那会那么前面新的东西出来，当然就出来，让经济或者东西用些早啊，让经济的，让经济讲了呀，不，我们学个东西，到了街上就让经济的把买不是上街，然怕误怕当，变得怕误怕当个那个是的呀，安就安的，他就业哇，就刚刚了 happiness 上不当的变了，业哇就刚刚了，安他就往里呀变了。谁过吧？他土楼过，他直接那么就三度嘛，当年不就我那边的话，脱贫上吧，啊，路线的上吧当年嘛，呀，天对上吧，没有出来，怕登对上吧，叫啊怕这，哦，这呢，强巴的年轻人呢都是有的事。
So when we talk about the practice of Tonglen, it just tell everyone that the practice of giving and receiving. So and then this is with the practice of loving kindness and compassion. So that means that when we practice the loving kindness, that means we give on our merit and happiness, wishing that others will receive the happiness, and we taking and giving, taking on the suffering of others to ourselves, like a bomb to destroy our self-cherishing that we talked beginning with the I important, the self-cherishment. So that if you practice the Tonglen, that means every day when you breathe in and breathe out, you can visualize that it's when you breathe in, so all the suffering of others will become look like black smoke. It come to your breath, come in and go to your heart, and like a bomb destroy your self-cherishment. Because you think of other and you wish other to release the suffering. And then when you breathe out, you visualize like all your merits, all the happiness will and virtue will become the white smoke. It go out of your body through your breath and bring the happiness to others. So that
what
means
need there something with the food, what clothes, there's something medicine. That's common like what do that they are health.
So it depends on their wish, of their wish, of their need. Then it's our happiness and merit will be transformed into the kind of need that they need to bring them the happiness. So when you breathe out, that means you practice the loving kindness. And when you breathe in, that means you give the happiness to others. That means you practice the loving kindness. When you breathe in and accept, you take the suffering from others to yourself, and you destroy that, your self-cherishment. This is the practice of compassion. That means release the suffering of others. So you will see that loving kindness and compassion, it have two forms. One is loving kindness to wish and people and happiness, and give the happiness to others as much as you can. And then it's the suffering you take over to yourself and wish them to release the suffering. That is practice of compassion.
Thank you.
Thank you. And technically we are supposed to end at 2. I want to ask if Neten, there's still more questions. I want to ask if His Eminence is willing to continue, or if you have to get to a next appointment. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, so we
Go ahead.
know that we finished the session, but His Eminence have something lasting to tell.
Yeah.
Okay. Certainly, we have a couple of more questions. Is that okay to ask more questions or?
Please.
Okay. Okay. So the next questioner is Elizabeth Findlay.
Hello. If it's all right, I would like to pass, just because we were just speaking about using these teachings to deal with grief and the loss of those that we love. If we could, I guess, put me at the back of the list and answer, I think, Michelle's question about grieving that was in the chat, if her question isn't already answered.
So you wanted
Yes.
to elaborate it more about that?
Well, she point. Yeah,
Sorry,
there is another
question in the chat that that someone else asked that is related to grieving, and I wanted them to have the chance to get their answer first because it was related to what we were talking about before as well.
So Elizabeth is talking about a question in chat, and I'll read the question that was in the chat from Michelle. I'm wondering if you have any advice for those that are currently in mourning. So this is related to the previous question.
개취쇼도 말아도 그 아니 지금 미 통년들이야 딱 말아도 샘제 지에네 가정을 펜트와시다 매버해 개취쇼도 당도 너함대라 말아도 다 이지시네 말아도래야 접돈예디 다 지금 말아도 다 추게네다 근데 지금 이나 다 접돈예들이야 운조다 아니 다 남과 예나니 그리지고 지금 근데 지금 만도나도 나와 있었던 매버해 다 들었을 때 말한다면 이게 달려도 맞는 깨버려 링이 깨버리나 다 들어가는 남 잡으나 근데 생각해서 이도 소소라는 옛날 남 잡잖아 근데 리스크를 가정을 핑계는 비핑이야 그래서
So it's like I say, it's very important at this time. It's very difficult, you know, to overcome it. But like if we know that sometimes we need to rely on, you know, the supreme being, like God, or for the Buddhists, it's like Buddha. So we need to have a kind of spiritual practice that we need to believe that someone there is very good to help us to release that kind of grief, that kind of suffering that we have right now. So if we just, sit there and complain or feel so sad, or just think that they think it's no desperate, it cannot go anywhere anymore. So that is the end of it. If we think that way, then it doesn't help us. But we need to have rely on God or on the Buddha. Please, bless me to overcome that. And you think about that. You think about them that it will be, in the for the help is better than that if we just, living with that.
이직체 아니 찍네 다 말아도 미 통년들이 채도 이게 다 펜도요 지금 소소 가르 펜도아 진다를 펜도아 미 쪽을 펜도아 컨디션에 비기 채도 지금 있으면 생들이 리스 차지 이거 있을 펜아 핑거 밀레 템버레 가정말레 핑거 비 약해 두서
And also that is if we in the situation that is affect our life, or even we the person who see that our loved one is go with that condition, like different kind of suffering, but anyway that we can do our best. If we see that somebody in a loved one have the problem, then we really suffer about that. So it's better to engage in anything that can help, the person in any condition to make that person feel some happiness, at the end, of their life. But even we in that situation, we still thinking about what we need to do for our future after that, because we need to believe that. So it's better to engage in any spiritual practice than, feeling suffer because of that.
Then you do the something like, oh, these people maybe something pass away. Now I do the something benefit other charity as something good thing. Some you choose and do better. Other thing people pass away something we cannot bring back, cannot try. That before I tell the charity deba, you choose menan kila mega chishipes. Tangan pun donation tendo can never be.
So that's why I eminently repeat, like you say, that if there is a remedy for the trouble strikes, then is what the reason is there to be, frustrated. So whatever we can do, that is, we can do so many things, either the action, physical action, or it's a mental action in that bad condition that is can benefit. And everything is that we do that bring the beneficial result is still good, for our life, or for the person that we is happen to lose. So that is very important. Yeah. And then he told me I also speak English, so I just try to repeat again. It's also that if it's we in any situation, if we can, for the loved one, if it's just in case that we can do the charity, we can do whatever, the good thing to create a merit for that person. If we fall in that situation that, it's the end of our life, or we have, some trouble, we still have a good thinking about doing the good thing for the whatever we leave behind. So it's always good to have a good mind doing any beneficial thing. The matter is a low one or
then slowly that my cannot quickly cannot really release my cannot do like this. Better make maybe few days much better.
Thank you so much. So Elizabeth may still have a question, and I also wanted to ask on behalf of our first questioner, Professor Lithang, if it's possible to send questions by email, if it's impossible to engage in an email exchange with His Eminence.
Yeah, he said that is of course it's the question when we explain it is easier than just writing. But if you have anything really trouble your mind, and if you would like to ask, then you can send. You can send it
To the may I share Khan's email, or should I use a different email?
That is the email that I think it's my friend is giving to you. It's my email, so you can send to my email.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Really, is any answer? It's it's a dialogue. It's a talking, then it's clearer.
Well, I'm gonna let Elizabeth speak in her question. I think one thing that was asked earlier was if someone does not believe in karmic debt, what then? And then, so that's one question, big question. And then Elizabeth, what is your question?
We answer that question first, and then we go next. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
참바된 닝지스야다 셈상고스야데 강가로 켈링이 요바레스.
So if you don't believe in the law of cause and effect, that means the karma, then it's but like you see the loving kindness, compassion, the good mind, you know the goodness that as the quality, everyone needs to have. Doesn't matter you believe in karma or not.
어두스레. 나이다 알아도 셈바 상고디 니 컨데질 간예 종원에 셈 상도 공야다 콜레야 지구네 마이오 쇼스야데 나도 말람 잠네다 와타 콘도 셈 상고 남주 때야데 아니 알아도 강가로다 이 레준데 케말레 니네양 디 마비셔바야나 팽기여 바다 셈바 상고 시게나 남주지다 가르차니네 바중을 시디 유바디 마비테도 콘디디 치는 야보요데스.
So if the person, if it, another person is, you know, is suffering or is dying or whatever happened, that is really need our help. So we can pray for them, you know, it's a prayer with a good motivation, with a good mind, and with all the love that we reserve for that person. It's still very wonderful because if you increase your quality, you still keep that kind of goodness, and you believe that your prayer with the good wish to that person is come true. So if you believe in that, it's still good to do that action. Doesn't matter if you believe in the, you know, the karma or not. And then next question.
Elizabeth, yes.
Thank you. My question is, if we're suffering and we're trying to think in good ways about others, are we meant to try and wish good things and blessings for them in their own suffering, or are we meant to draw joy from the positive experiences of people who are having good things right now? Or are we supposed to do, you know, as much of both as we can?
셈나 동의 시비치는 스페셜리산 사모탄 투고 매반나 단 네거til이야 사모케 마탄 사모케 마탄 자 우인데 당가접 야마 우 당가접 파 당가접 야 당마 당가 당고디야 당마 당 프로그램 매 마인드 포커싱이 되나 셈 감다운도 차트와 요래 근데 그젤이야 아우 시스템에만 감다운 차선 아니 당가접나 셈 데스 거기에 감도 그게 어디에 nothing, anything.
But nothing if I don't think it about it. It's not really
로가 지금 내서 봐라. 이 맵에나 소소 정보당 소소 여러 지기 있으나 되게 어려서 밀려야 지금여밖에 하다. 근데 그 선물 주는 맵에 네 여러 장사 지기 정보 지기 있으나 야고 되게 어려서.
So it's eminent that said that there is a different situation, a different way. Like normally, that the way we already discussed about that we have a good mind, we have we love people, we help people with loving kindness, compassion, and try to help as much as we can. That we talk long time in this session. It's just in case that sometime like we suffer a lot and then we don't have any positive talk about others, we don't have anything in our mind thinking that helping others, then we need to think about all the goodness, what the quality that we have, and then we understand the suffering, like our suffering and other people's suffering is the same. So we need to train our mind by thinking all the time, because you know the negative talk, it doesn't bring any good at the end. But if yourself as a person who suffer, and then you cannot find a way to go out, sometimes we don't need to think too much. It's just calm down and just breathe in and breathe out before we relax, before we react to the situation. Just calm down, and then you can focus on your breathing. You breathe in, you breathe out, or you take a mind relax, and don't dig up the situation that cause more trouble. So that is a different way as you, as a person who have a negative talk, and then you suffer. And another way is like, sometimes we don't want to help other because we don't have any positive talk to help others. So either way, we need to train our mind by thinking about how, thinking advantage of the good quality as a person that we have. The other thing, that we don't dig up too much in the trouble. Keep your mind calm, because the more you dig into the problem, more the trouble happen. More trouble will happen. So calm down and just breathe in, breathe out, breathe a little bit. Calm time for yourself.
Then slowly come in that wisdom. Any change? Take step by step. Rather we cannot go slowly, wisdom coming, then change your mind.
Okay, so thank you so much. And we had so many people saying thank you in the chat. They were really appreciative. So thank you so much for spending this time with us. You said you had a message at the end that you wanted to share, or?
아니 시락이 가보종 안들레진의 마지 가고 쉐아시트야 되는 가라도 시락이 양보다 안들레 안초라도야 아니 주아리 상말로 시다 양보도 아니 토지 체슈야니 상말로 가보시라 좀 토지 체 아니 제만 무스 제트야 되다.
So His Eminence said that he very thankful for this session, for this talk, that he have an opportunity to see all of you, and especially thank you Professor Adamek for organizing this talk. And so His Eminence can see everyone, and we can share the knowledge, share our experience in the practice. And also he appreciate a lot your question. It understand, with the way that we experiencing right now. And the question was very good, and he very appreciate and learn more, about what is happening by talking to you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Stay well. Stay well. See you again. Stay well, everyone.